Welcome to Research and More. This video continues from the last video on why thesis writing is difficult, where we considered factors contributing to the difficulty in thesis writing. Once we have dealt with any of those factors, we can now proceed with learning how to develop our critical writing skills necessary for thesis writing. First, let's recap some issues from the last video. We identified challenges associated with thesis writing. The challenges can be grouped into two: researcher-related challenges and supervisor-related challenges. Between these two challenges, we have control over researcher-related challenges but have very little control over supervisor-related challenges. So focus on managing those factors that we can control. It is only after we have addressed these challenges can we move on to the next step of developing our critical writing skills. The learning approach we were taught from play school right through college is one that is indoctrinated in foundational theories. We were conditioned to accept what we read and what the teachers told us without questioning. We were never encouraged to critically evaluate what was presented to us. As students, we are trapped into a routinized learning process and view the happening around us in a fixated way. But in a postgraduate research study, we are expected to move from a fixated mindset to a growth mindset, where we must be willing to challenge previously held beliefs. The mindset must change from focusing on generating contents and solutions to a mindset that engages in the critical analysis and synthesis, involving the scientific processes of determining the problem to the selection of appropriate methodology to solve that problem. By adopting a new mindset, we can expect to be able to achieve new results. Writing is a very impactful method of learning. It is a powerful medium in getting a message across if presented well to meet the need of our intended audience. So we need different writing styles for different purposes. Before we proceed to learn how to develop critical writing style for the purpose of thesis writing, it will be useful to know the differences between evaluative or descriptive writing and critical writing. We use evaluative or descriptive writing style if we want to provide a validation of the state of a specific item, product, service, program, and others. However, if we want to make critical connections within subject areas and generalize ideas to other contexts through thought-provoking questioning, we use the critical writing style. With the evaluative writing, we are not developing any arguments. We are merely setting the background within which an argument can be developed. We are describing the situation as it stands without presenting any analysis or discussion. In providing only a description, we are merely presenting but not transforming information. We are reporting ideas but not taking them forward in any way. With critical writing, we are engaging in a challenging academic debate. We need to consider the evidence and arguments of others and to contribute our own. We achieve this by considering the quality of the evidence and arguments we have read. We identify key positive and negative aspects to comment upon. We assess their relevance and usefulness to the debate that we are engaging in. And we identify how best they can be woven into the arguments that we are developing. As you can see, a much higher level order of thinking is clearly needed for critical writing than for evaluative writing. Developing the critical writing skill is not a simple and direct process. From the initial stage of exploring a research idea to the development of critical thinking, several distinct stages from a broad level to a very focused one are involved. This transformation process begins with the exploration of research ideas. This is followed by linking these ideas. The different ideas are then conceptualized in the form of logical framework. The link between the various components need to be explained by applying relevant theories. By ensuring coherence between ideas, arguments and support for the literature, a certain level of originality would emerge. At the end of the process, we should be able to develop the critical writing skills arising from critical thinking. A thesis written at the exploratory stage consists of research ideas that are largely simple and undeveloped. The ideas may be obtained from various sources, but they are still in a disorganized form. Since these ideas at this stage are heavily reliant on the literature, there is an obvious lack of originality and integration in the writing. Let's say you want to study film performance. At this stage, you may start by presenting simple ideas about film performance, but with no clear directions or connections about what you want to convey. For example, you may want to consider issues associated with film performance, like management, marketing strategy, intangible resources, and many more. You may also view film performance from financial or non-financial perspectives. A natural step for you to take from here is to capitalize on these simple ideas by writing beyond summarizing the literature and rephrasing them. You should attempt to develop arguments based on those ideas and integrate the literature. Make sure what you write can be clearly understood. Your thesis at this stage is fragmented. It is still lacking in analysis, shows little support of ideas and originality, and has minimal development of arguments. However, it is now possible to link them with the main problem that binds all these issues together. You can begin to connect your fragmented ideas by consistently connecting your thoughts throughout your thesis. Continue to explore film performance. Also explore other variables that can be associated with film performance. Attempt to make connections between these variables. But since you are just starting to develop a structure for your thesis, the connection between management, marketing strategy, or intangible resources and film performance are obviously lacking in analysis. Support of ideas and originality is still weak. Any arguments to defend the structure is still at minimal level. However, it is now possible to identify the main problem that holds all these variables together. It is now possible to connect your fragmented ideas by consistently connecting your thoughts throughout the thesis. Make an effort to incorporate relevant information you find in the literature to explore the connection between each variable and firm performance. Ensure there is a continuous flow from one sentence to another and a clear transition from one paragraph to the next. Each paragraph should indicate a theme. Write around that theme. Once you are able to establish a consistent connection of ideas, you can decide on the problem statement and the scope of your study, and then conceptualize the relationship among the components. By now, you should be able to justify and understand how each component is related to one another. This conceptualization of the relationship presents a structure that will enable you to show some coherence around the thesis. You may now introduce relevant theories that explain the respective relationships. Your next step is to strengthen your thesis by providing the support for the ideas, perform critical analysis, and integrate them with the literature. From your review of the literature, you should be able to identify several variables within intangible resources that contribute to the variance in firm performance. Once you are able to establish a consistent relationship between selected intangible resource and firm performance, you can conceptualize that relationship. By now, you should be able to justify the relationship and understand how the independent variable is related to the dependent variable. From a number of intangible resources you have reviewed, you may pick a specific variable for the purpose of your study. For example, selecting to study the relationship between intellectual capital and firm performance. This conceptualization of a framework presents a structure that will allow you to show some coherence around the research problem. The relevant theory that underlies this framework can be introduced now. Although your thesis still lacks the support for the ideas, critical analysis, and integration with the literature, you should strive to strengthen them. At this point, the structure of your research is well in place. Your next task is to strengthen the critical analysis of your literature to provide better coherence for your thesis. The focus is to ensure proper alignment between the analysis, theoretical support, and justifications arising from the literature. However, you still need to strengthen your thesis by demonstrating your ability to synthesize it from the theoretical perspective. Be ready to situate your position by providing strong arguments generated from a critical review of reliable sources. That way, you can bring uniqueness to your thesis. To provide a stronger support for your thesis, the relationship between intellectual capital and firm performance must be supported by the analysis and synthesis of the literature and the application of theoretical perspectives. Your ideas around intellectual capital and its dimensions and firm performance and its dimensions must be integrated around the thesis and supported by the literature. Your arguments in establishing each relationship must be supported by the theoretical perspectives of the literature from several sources. Once you are able to develop a position or arguments by applying the analysis and synthesis of the literature, you are now ready to move to the next level of higher order thinking, which is a reflection of critical thinking. To prepare to be at the level of critical thinking, your thesis must reflect the following: ideas presented in a coherent manner, a strong support of the literature, high level of originality, clear alignment of ideas, critical analysis, and argumentation. Above all, your thesis is able to demonstrate the creation of new knowledge from the way you transform information from the literature and your ability to understand the subject matter. High order thinking at this stage is evident from your display of critical thinking. There is coherence between the problem statement and clear arguments for the development of the research framework, which is always supported by the literature. This includes justification for your choice of research model, choices of variables included in the conceptual framework, how you visualize the concepts you want to explain and what you want to investigate, and how you use your conceptual framework to design your research. You are considered to have acquired the critical writing skills when your thesis shows that you are able to apply critical thinking, able to perform critical analysis, and shows good writing. Your thesis shows that you have a strong knowledge of the subject matter, as evidenced from how ideas are thoroughly evaluated and analyzed. Throughout the thesis, all arguments are properly supported to show creation of new knowledge and original contribution. The thesis is written in the right format and style with correct grammar and structure. Once you have achieved this level of writing skill, you will be able to confidently assess any situation, challenge existing beliefs, critically evaluate your own assumptions, and review your own writing better. Thank you for watching. If you find this video useful, please subscribe, share, and comment so that more of similar videos can be created.